What's up, everybody? Welcome to On the Record, the Fat Records fan podcast. The Fat Records fan podcast. I said that terribly. Where we're going album by album, side by side, and roughly chronologically through the whole damn catalog. I'm your host, Ben, and as always, I'm joined by Alex and Josh to talk about Ballads from the Revolution by Good Riddance. How you guys doing?
Good, man. How's it going?
Doing all right.
You know,
Batten down the
Yeah.
hatches. We're in historic floods in California right now. It's pretty crazy.
yeah. Weather's kind of nice out here, you know?
For once.
Shit, how that is.
Yeah, Cleveland got we had a nice 50 degree day in Cleveland the other day. We really treated ourselves. We all busted out our shorts.
Don't you only wear shorts though?
No, I'm a pants guy now. I'm back to being a pants guy after many, many years being strictly a shorts guy.
Welcome back.
Because I got a job where for like the first time in 20 years I had to wear pants, and I was like, fuck.
All right.
I was real bummed, and it wasn't as horrible of a transition as I expected. Fat guy pants technology has come a long way in the last decade or two. So it's not so bad. I got a pair of jeans and everything.
Excellent.
I celebrate every type of lower limb covering.
It's a great sentence.
Can't wait for you to bust your kilt out for the Real Mackenzie's episodes.
He's
Maybe
gonna
I will.
host with
Maybe I
Justice
will.
Crotch.
Terrible. I don't want to be on that episode.
No, I don't either.
Well, you won't be, so you don't have to worry about it. Just be your crotch.
So the record today, as I said, is Ballads from the Revolution by Good Riddance. We're gonna talk about ballads a little bit later. Luckily, there's some ballady songs on this record. Let's go through the liner notes. This was released on February 10th, 1998. Not that long after the last Good Riddance record was released. The band lineup here is Russ Rankin on vocals, Chuck Platt on bass and backing vocals, Sean Sellers on drums and any excess percussion, and Luke Povich is on guitar. It was recorded at Motor Studios, engineered by Ryan Green and Adam Kramer, and produced by Ryan Green and Good Riddance. And yeah, that's all the info that we could get about this record. Other than the actual songs that or the document itself. I don't know where I'm going with that, but let's just go straight into side one. What? So, kind of as a general impression, this record feels like the first Good Riddance record we've listened to that sounds like what all the rest of them kind of sound like going on.
Yeah, this is
here,
definitely
right?
where like the band's like sound is, I think, fully formed.
Yep. That was the exact same thought that I had.
I would say that kind of overall they definitely reach way higher highs on some coming records. But it's probably better than the last Good Riddance record.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mhm.
What more could you ask for?
It's a great opener too. I mean, it's distills everything like you said, it becomes this band's like iconic sound. Is even though like I think they changed drummers either after this record or the record after. It's the drums, the guitar tone. I mean, the riffs all set the stage for pretty much everything they do going forward.
Yeah, they found their groove
Yeah.
here.
I do love the way it ends too. The fact that it just kind of stops on a dime and it's like dun 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 dun. Dun. Just that's it.
Yeah. I thought Fertile Fields was an all right song on it. There are better songs on this record.
Certainly.
Not great, not bad.
What
What about you, Alex?
Yeah, it just feels like classic Good Riddance. Like, just this whole record feels like they just locked in and found the style that they wanted to do from now on. Um, this was, I'd listened to plenty of other Good Riddance records. I somehow skipped this one. I don't even know why.
You know,
Because like listening to it, I just kind of realized like, oh, I don't know if I ever really listened to this one, maybe like once or twice, and I definitely like recognize a couple of the songs, but they were probably because of like a comp or something like that. But yeah, I don't know why I skipped it. I mean, it sounds like it totally would have fit in with the other records that I really like, because there's a lot of good
yeah,
stuff here. But
Mhm.
Fertile Fields, I agree, Ben. It's a decent lead off track. Um, it's definitely got more of like I like the so I've noticed listening to it, it seems to bounce between a couple of different styles of song. And it just kind of ping pongs back and forth between them. Um, sometimes they'll do something that is a little bit more of like the catchy sort of ballad style song. Sometimes it's just straight up, very straightforward, um, hardcore. And then they do something that's a lot more like melodic hardcore. But I mean it's a nice sort of way to keep things. It never gets stale. Is really where I'm going with this. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's definitely got like the guitar tone definitely has like a lot of like on a lot of these songs definitely gets a lot darker. It's not like
yeah.
that.
They do some cool guitar shit on this album.
Yeah, they do. But it's at this point we're in the prime of like the Fat Wreck sound that Ryan Green
Yeah,
has just kind of set for so many bands. And this definitely fits into that, but Good Riddance here definitely has more of like a darker tone to a lot of the songs. And I think Fertile Fields is the first indication of that. So it's it's a good lead off. But the lyrics, and I'll just maybe just right at the top, we'll just address the fact that I think the lyrics on this record are okay. They're fine.
his lyrics in general are. That's like the story of this band. Like I think the lyrics are probably the weakest point at any given time in this band's career. I mean, like musically, they never really slow down or like lapse, but the lyrics are always you always kind of go like, they could be better.
I feel like they get really good on a couple records.
Yeah, a lot of these
But
earlier albums do age in a way similar to like we talked about Lifetime, Jersey's Best Dancers. Like how it's
Hmm.
a great record, but there's so many songs like kind of White Knighting and like things like that that just age really poorly. And I feel like for a lot of years that was Good Riddance's bread and butter of like writing songs about being like the better guy and that sort of thing. There's a lot of
oh
that. There's a
yeah,
lot of that on this
there's
record. Like
way too
it's
much
like
of that on here.
three quarters of the album is just like
Exactly.
stuff about girls, and it's very, very rough. Like I mean, you can tell he's not writing from like like a negative place, or like he doesn't intend to come off the way I think he comes off. I think, like I said, it just has aged extremely
Yeah,
poorly.
yeah. That what was I guess kind of being all right at that time. Kind of just in retrospect, I guess what passed for being all right at that time, kind of in retrospect, is
Sure.
still kind of gross.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, but yeah, and then when it's not being extremely obvious what it's about, the songs are kind of like too broad, and I would say that that might be the case for Fertile Fields, which seems to be about what we sacrifice when we wage war, I think, but it's not super
Yeah.
clear. So I don't really
Yeah,
know.
it's girls and like war is bad, more or less. Like
Yeah.
I
which like
I
fair.
I mean, I took it very much as just kind of an overall life of the working class. Um,
It could be that too.
Seemed to be what the song was about. Um,
Right.
and like
That's
war factors into that just because who who's going into the meat grinder. It's not
Right.
yeah.
not
So
the
that
fortunate sons.
right. That was my note. It was like it's when we wage a war, whether it's physical war or like with actual violence or like culture wars.
Yeah. Sacrifice. Moving on. Thought it was a fine song. I thought that Russ kind of sounded like a little full of himself on this. I don't know.
I
Maybe I'm
dig
being
it.
harsh.
Musically, the lyrics kind of give a vibe of like feeling like you're gonna lose it, and I think the music sort of matches it. Like the song kind of feels like it could go off the rails at any given point. And I really dig that.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's not super clear what he's even talking about. Is it sacrifice for an individual person or a group of people? It could be about like a soldier sacrificing themselves for their country too, but eh. Um, but I think the song itself is really good. This is one of my favorites from side one. It's got like a really good hook to it. And it's I think it's one of the strengths of this record is that how many songs are it just blazes by. It's so fast. Like
Yeah.
most of these songs are really short,
Yeah.
which is definitely
It's
a
like it's a
positive.
daunting looking record because it seems like a lot, and then you realize how quickly most of these songs zip by, and it's not nearly as much of a task as you expect it to be.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, this was one of the standouts for me. I really liked it.
Yeah. Song that I did really, really like was State Control.
Yeah, State
So
Control's
State
awesome.
Control, I think, was one of the best songs on the album. It fucking rips.
Yeah, I like that it
Like,
keeps the aggression from the previous song kind of going. Like they lock into like a pretty mean groove there, and this it goes right into this song.
yeah.
Yeah, I like how like chaotic the intro to this one sounds when they just like launch into like a straight up hardcore song. It's great.
Um, I kind of took it to be about how the state police apparatus um, tries to encourage violence among dissenting groups as a way to then, as a pretext for then like bringing the hammer down.
Yeah,
Is what it, if it was about anything, seemed to be about. The with polarized violence will train you to kill. Line in particular sticks out like that to me.
Yeah, I could see that. Um, yeah, I was taking from it that it was just like about power structures and how they will influence the way that you think, so that you go along with what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so definitely along those lines.
And then the song off this record that I was most familiar with, but somehow I don't remember what it sounds like at all. Um, is Genie.
it's a very odd one
And
to be the most familiar with.
I don't think I'd ever really listened to this record, but I know Genie popped up like everywhere. It seemed like, and I have just like zero recollection of like the song.
That's very
Um,
strange.
I
I
kind
felt
of
like
had
it
the
did nothing
same
for me.
feelings. It had to have popped up somewhere, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I had
feel
the
like
same
this was on
feeling.
comps. Um, felt lyrics were really horrendous. Like felt
Yeah,
Yeah,
embarrassing to
yeah, right.
read.
super like I like that it musically gives the listener a chance to breathe a little bit because after two
Right.
pretty like balls to the wall songs, it's nice to catch a breath
Yeah.
and get a song like this in there. But yeah, it's a little bit ruined by the cringe factor of it.
Yeah. It is definitely a cool down track. Um, and it's our first actual ballad on this record.
Yeah.
but
and it's not.
yeah, it's definitely some dumb like White Knight BS. Uh,
It's also creepy because like he's a grown ass man,
right? Like
and like this seems to be about like somebody in high school.
that's what I'm reading it as. Like it's I'm just so over these types of songs at this point. Like we're not even that
and there's
far.
so many in this era too from all these bands.
Yeah, we're not even
Yeah.
that far into the catalog, and I'm already just kind of like, oh man, another one of these.
No more love songs.
These aren't love songs. They're just
Love songs, you know what I mean?
I don't even know. Just yeah, I'm
Should
over
do
it.
a bracket one season of like the worst White
Oh.
Knight songs.
Absolutely, that is a great idea. We should.
A battle royale of the cringiest relationship songs.
Oh my god, yes. I'm totally on board for that.
So I like the song Salt. I thought it was one of the better songs on this record.
Yeah,
Not sure, you know, I guess, what I wrote here was moshing and stage diving are not a crime. I kind of feel like it's hard to really gauge where he's coming from because like it kind of sounds like it's just a very like anti like any sort of physicality at punk shows
He's
coming from
anti-fun.
this song. Yeah, he's got a radical anti-fun agenda.
did he put up no smoking signs before their sets?
I liked this song better when it was called "Back to the Gym" by Battery. Go back to the gym.
A lot of similarities too. I would say Battery and a band like bands like I don't know if it's Blast or Ballast, however you say that. Them and Battery are always the two bands I think of when I think of like reference points for Good Riddance.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Blast for sure. Like Battery, maybe not quite as much, but yeah, I don't know. Those are both great
I can
bands.
see what you're crafting there, but putting that together.
Yeah.
I'll let you cook.
Guys, you didn't. It really just sounds like Strung Out to me. Big time.
Yeah, I could see that. It's super like upbeat and like dare I say like almost hopeful sounding musically, which is rare for this band / album.
This literally sounds like they listened to In Harm's Way and were like, "Oh yeah, let's do one like that." Like all the way down to like there's a part like where he delivers a line while the music pauses, and that I think
Yeah,
is like
that's right. And that's not something they do ever
right.
really.
So which like and I say all of this, while thinking that this is like a good track. This is one of my favorites on this side too. I like this one.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But it's because I like Strung Out. So
Right.
it doesn't. I don't know. Like it's not like it doesn't fit the record because it totally does.
No, yeah, I get what you're saying. It
But-
does feel incredibly similar though. You're right. And even that talking part, I hadn't considered that until you pointed out what a like early strung out thing that is.
Right.
Like what an early strung out trope that is. And yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, I like this one. It was good.
So, choices made. The first thing I wrote was that I like the Civ song way more.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Fair.
I kind of just felt whatever about this song.
Yeah, I mean
What about you,
it was good, not great. I would say the bass sounds really, really cool in the song. There's a lot of cool, like jangly bass parts. That was the highlight for me.
Yeah, I like the guitars on this one. The way they sort of like they stretch out in kind of like an unsettling way. But yeah, not one of my standouts.
No.
And sort of I don't know, lyrically, this is just kind of like another one of those boilerplate songs from this era. It's about somebody lamenting the choices they've made when it comes to drug addiction and staying clean and stuff like that. We've heard this before.
Yeah. Although I guess that's an interesting point to then know about Russ Rankin. I guess assuming that this is from his first person perspective, that like he's not somebody that like just never did drugs or drank alcohol.
Yeah,
He
just the
straight up
straightest, narrowest guy.
he at some point when he was younger was a bit more wild.
Maybe,
I
or maybe it's
guess
just maybe it's from the perspective of somebody else too that he knows.
that's
Yeah.
always possible.
Right.
I think Russ's main vice has always been hockey, I think, and continues to be.
Clean
Yeah.
from the ice. So the next song I was not a fan of at all. Not with him.
Speaking of boilerplate songs from this era,
I felt like there was some energy coming off this song.
who boy is there?
Sad boy Russ Rankin.
Little jealous, Russ.
Yeah.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
I like the bit about clean sheets being used.
That's
used to
exactly
be
what
their
I have here.
song.
Yeah. That was my
the Descendants reference.
yeah. He says listening to Clean Sheets, that used to be our song. Great songs they used to be, but now they just poison me. Like, ugh.
Oh, all right. Let's relax a little.
Yeah, come on, dude.
I mean,
like
all's
I
better
can-
anyways.
I can understand, the feeling he's describing of not being able to listen to songs.
I just don't like
Sure.
the way he phrased it
Yeah.
is so hokey. It's really
Oh yeah. Well, also, Clean Sheets is not a song about like a happy couple.
no.
No.
That was my
Like, you
other
should-
call out here. I was like, what?
You should have known, dumbass. Oh man.
That's a great song.
Okay.
So he's got good taste. This one also kind of reminded me of Strung Out. Like the intro and the guitar lead in the chorus, and there's like a little solo break towards the end. Yeah, it's just it's interesting how much of like a weird Strung Out influence there is to this record. I don't know if maybe they toured together a bunch and they're just like, yeah, let's do it.
Could be Ryan Green's influence too, to some degree too. I mean, working with all these different bands, like could be over there saying like, hey, we'll try something a little different or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, that's side one. So before we flip it over to side two, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna do a couple things. First things first, we did get some fan mail for the No Use for a Name episode that came out as of right now, like a few days ago.
Boy, did we
by the
we
time
really
you see
beat
weeks
that
ago.
record over the head so bad.
Yeah. This was after we had talked about how rough that we were on that episode with each other. So this is coming from what I can only believe is the character Todd Packer from the TV show The Office.
Please. Please.
Todd says, "There's no intensity to the first track. That song is loaded with great hooks and great guitar parts and chord progressions. And saying Invincible and On the Outside are forgettable. This was an awful review." I feel like I fucking made it, guys. I
I don't know, man.
have
It's just
I have been the Todd Packer before. The idiot. I don't mean to be mean there. I'm sorry, but I'm calling myself an idiot here. The idiot who got angry about people's opinions on a podcast and started typing up something, and so that we've been able to generate that.
Finally,
It's
mission
a real
accomplished,
joy.
man.
let the hate wash over you. I love
Like
it.
I said, man, I genuinely was surprised how out of favor I had fallen with that record. I had fully expected to be like the lone defender, and I definitely none of us had a lot to defend.
Well, I mean, okay, so what everybody should hopefully understand by now, maybe that was the only episode this person listened to, from our podcast, but like we genuinely want to enjoy these records. Like I don't go into
Sure.
this thinking like, oh man, can't wait to hate this.
But if we
we've
have to,
been-
we're gonna have some fun with it.
Exactly. But I would say that we've definitely been more pleasantly surprised than
Yeah, I would say
the
so.
opposite. You know,
I'm gonna say positive things about the Ataris later this season. We
We're all fans
definitely
of
go
snuff
into
at this
this
point. Like,
with a with a desire to like. I'm also very glad that people have sent, you know, this. We want to know how we make you feel. Tell us.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and by all means, that
Thank you,
person,
Todd.
like, I hope they come back and listen to more episodes, and like maybe they'll find stuff that they agree with us on, or
Yeah.
maybe we'll change their mind about a record they didn't like, and turns out they dig it now.
we appreciate you giving your opinion. We'd keep doing that.
All right. So to then move on with this break segment, the album today is Ballads from the Revolution. And so we're going to talk about our favorite ballads to sing at karaoke, or maybe your favorite ballad to watch somebody sing at karaoke. Um, I was thinking through the songs I sing, and there's only one that I think would probably count as a ballad, and that's Roxanne by the Police. I haven't sang it in a while, but singing Roxanne, really stretching out the Roxanne.
Wow, he went
Really,
so high that he clipped out.
Yeah, dude, that was hilarious.
um, it's a lot of fun. What about you two?
So my favorite one to witness live is anytime like a real hammered couple does Meatloaf Paradise by the Dashboard Light, because it's like a dueling vocal song. So there's a lot of like male female interplay and like the like verses, and it's a like, so it goes from like singing to dialogue a lot, and to watch the people, hammered as they are, try to like shift their brain from like the melody portion to like trying to repeat like and keep up with the talking parts. It never ever goes well, and it's a home run every single time.
I love that you've seen that done like
Oh, that's a
a bunch of
popular one
times. Really?
for
Okay.
sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Any like shithole bar that has a guy who like one dude runs karaoke on a Saturday, and it's all built into like one big carry-on like rolling case, you're gonna see at least one couple do Paradise by the Dashboard Light for sure. And then also probably get into a fight in the parking lot.
I'd have to say that my favorite ballad is watching Ben do Roxanne.
I would also like to see Ben do Roxanne. I mean, we kind of did here, but I would love to see the full, the full Ben.
He needs
Maybe,
at least a few drinks.
yeah, maybe that'll be our
Into it.
first Patreon content. Is I'll get drunk
Drunk
on
karaoke.
Discord and sing
Drunk
Roxanne
Discord
karaoke.
drunk Discord karaoke. $5 a month tier.
I don't have any like other examples really, but I do kind of miss going to see karaoke. I will say though,
Oh, it's a
one of
blast, dude.
one of the most memorable. So like living in LA, it's actually kind of difficult to find truly terrible karaoke. It can definitely be found, without a doubt.
Sure.
But the thing is about living here, there are too many people that go out to karaoke knowing that they're very good at singing. And
Right.
sometimes
You're
it's
not
really impressive.
fun.
Right.
We don't
Sometimes
want you here.
exactly.
Yeah. If I want to hear good singing, I can just turn on the radio.
Yeah,
I want to hear bad singing.
exactly.
That's why I go to the bar that has karaoke.
Yeah. 'Cause there have been multiple times where I've gone to see karaoke and I'm thinking to myself, all right, can't wait to see some people bomb. And then somebody gets up there and delivers it's like, are you out of your
Yeah.
mind?
Like a pitch perfect Jennifer Hudson song or
Yeah.
something.
Like, what the fuck, man?
No, I came here to see a retired accountant sing Burn It Down a House, and I'm going to see it.
Nothing compares to going to the main entrance in Delhi and watching people get up there and sing the worst shit you've ever heard in your life, right, Ben?
Main entrance is closed. When
Oh,
tits up.
Oh,
A place
Look at it,
going
dude.
tits up is the greatest. My favorite phrase for a failing business because I don't even understand it. It's just the greatest non thing ever.
I will close this out by saying, though, one of the best karaoke sessions I've ever seen was literally the biggest fail at doing karaoke from just from the business's standpoint. So years ago, before the pandemic, we had I go to an art meetup every single week, and we would always have it at this really great little market that also had like a counter with like a lot of like really great Mexican food and stuff. But they would try to do events sometimes, and so they went through a period of time where like once a month they tried having a guy come in with and like offer karaoke, but every time that he came in, nobody wanted to do it.
Oh
Nobody.
no.
And so he would sing songs by himself.
Just like waiting for someone to drop a slip in the thing.
Yes. So
That sucks.
so
That's a
watching
bummer.
so watching a man who is clearly very bored and had nothing to do sing Linkin Park to nobody is
Oh,
absolutely hilarious.
In the end, right?
Yes.
Was it that song?
Yes.
say
And
if it was either that or crawling, those are always the two.
it was in the end, and it was very funny. Just because I was like, dude, this is sad.
All right. Well, time to flip it over to side two. I think that side two kicks off with a really good song. I think what he's singing about here is kind of the magic that sometimes happens at punk shows. You know, in the off chance that there's actual genuine unity and understanding between everybody. I think that very often, that's something that doesn't normally happen in most social settings. So it's not like it's a huge failure that that's not always the case. But it is, I think, kind of a magic moment sort of thing. What'd you guys think?
I like this song. Like the guitar leads are really cool, but for some reason just never clicked for me. This is one of the songs that always kind of bored me on my listen throughs.
Interesting. For the record, the song is understood.
Yeah.
Oh, did I not say what song it was?
It's okay. What is that? Does anybody know where these clips that they pulled are from? Like, it sounds like some of them are from the same source, but like I didn't recognize.
They almost sound like old educational videos or something
Yeah.
you would hear like in a school.
It's like I love the bands who do this stuff, just because it's just fun to kind of guess where it came from. But it's just I love just like the really like obscure clips that people pull for their songs in the '90s. It was such a thing,
Yeah.
especially
It
for
was the sound drop era ruled. I was a huge fan.
yeah.
I used to love you make like a mix CD and you throw like some TV show clips and audio clips in there somewhere at the end or something. That was always fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever did that.
Yeah, I was a real nerd for that stuff.
But I'm with Ben on this one. I really this is one of my favorites from the record. I like the melody of the chorus and the guitars and like those real smooth backup vocals that come in at the end as it adds like a little punch to accent everything. It's a really good one.
All right. Well, I really like the song Waste. I think Waste is probably my favorite song on this record. I think that Waste is a vision of what a Fat Records Earth Crisis release might sound like.
I can
Um,
definitely
it
see
very
that.
much has like I think even like there are like lines in the song that are just Earth Crisis songs.
Yeah, this is another one that's them cycling back to doing like the really dark hardcore sound, that ominous
Yeah, the
guitar
music
tone.
rips.
it's really cool, and like they to like punctuate it, they just let it kind of ring out at the end, which is a really good touch. Um, and I kind of wish that they would have even like let it go longer to underscore the song like at the end, and just kind of like just give me like a tiny little bit of a breather before we continued on. But yeah, this is a good track, and it's very obviously about animal rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, very obviously. Yeah, there is even a "Destroy their machines" is one of the lines in the song, and then "Burn their slaughterhouses to the ground." There's a
Song so heavy-handed, it may as well have been built with antimatter.
So slowly, thought it was a pretty good song. The lyrics.
Yep.
Russ sounds like he was a very controlling person.
I do. It's such a tough one for me because this is probably my favorite song on the record, but it's so cringy, and I have such a hard time with it now. But I still love like that guitar lead is so good, and like those kind of marching forward drums are really great.
Yeah.
It's just a good song, but like it is a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I think this is like the real tension of the record is that like I actually don't like I'll just say it now since we're closing in towards the end of the record. I don't think there are no bad songs on this record necessarily. Like not even like there's not a single one that I'm like, "Oh, I got to skip that." But the real tension is the lyrics are just often like I'm just like, "Oh man, this again?" Like,
Yeah.
dude.
It's a tough record, man, because like there's so much to love, but there's so much to like you could very easily pick apart.
Right.
And like I love this record, and I would absolutely recommend someone listen to it. But I could see if I did, and someone went back and was like, it's really not for me. I'd be like, I get it. Like it's hard to argue against it, but like it's a strong record.
Yeah. But I also really like this song minus the lyrics because Russ Rankin, protector of seeing girls, we get it. But this is yet another one that kind of reminds me of Strung Out. And if this is like the longest original song on the album because the actual longest song is Kiss cover. But it's just funny that it feels more mid-tempo when you're listening to the album, but if you listen to it by itself, it's actually still pretty fast.
It's a pretty good one.
And I think that it definitely has one of the catchiest and most memorable hooks on the entire record. It's really
good.
But again, the lyrics. You can just zone out. Just listen to it.
Do better. Yeah. Just appreciate the atmosphere.
Yeah, don't think too hard about it.
I thought that Slowly was a pretty good song, but that Russ just sounded like a very controlling person in this song.
Yeah, that's right.
So Without Anger, I thought this was a pretty great song.
Yeah, I love this one.
I liked it. I kind of felt like lyrically it was not really about anything at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's so broad. It's just not really. It doesn't seem to be about anything.
Musically, I think this is probably one of the songs that showcases that like Blast and Black Flag influence more than maybe any other one on the record. Especially when you consider, is Operation Phoenix the next record after this one?
Yeah.
I think so. But that's a song that you could definitely see that it leads in that direction going forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something about those guitars are very like agitating song in like in a cool way.
Yeah. No, I agree. So Holding On.
Man.
I was so that song actually seemed to be about a volcel instead of an incel.
I don't even know what that
is.
A
voluntary celibate.
Is that an actual term? Or did you make that up?
I've heard people use it before. I don't know if it's like actually.
Yeah, I don't think it's made its way into the lexicon yet, but
I haven't heard that
we can try and get it there.
No. It's volcels are heterosexual men who abstain from sexual relationships. So,
So you
instead of involuntarily
So-
celibate.
so you think this is actually about another man?
No, I mean I think it's about Russ Rankin being a volcel, but
Jesus.
So okay,
what?
well this is interesting. So again, this is like I think this is a really good song. I really liked it. It reminds me of I mean I kind of listened to it and thought, oh, it's sort of a retread of "Think of Me" from the last record.
It feels like
Okay.
a song that just takes parts from all of their other songs and just
Yeah,
like someone fed it into an AI song. Yeah, could have written a song generator.
I think it works. But like just because it feels like a little bit of a retread doesn't mean it's not like solid, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
But these lyrics, I'm just like reading. I was like, what is going on here? Is he like? My thought was, is he like admiring a girl for holding her ground and not giving up her virginity? Because that's what it seems like it is. But I'm just like not sure what he means when he's saying that he hopes she'll see it through. Like, what is she seeing through? Virginity until marriage?
Till death. She's gonna be put into the volcano. Gonna make our harvest good next year.
And then he also says like her strength, quote unquote, works miracles, and like I don't even know what does that even mean?
Yeah, that's I couldn't tell
I
you.
just don't. I don't know. And okay, so like, and if all of that's the case, the line towards the end where he says, "And I wish that I could be the one, but it's not me. I'll never set you free." Like, was he setting her free from? Like the burden of virginity?
Cage of celibacy.
Yeah. Like the pressure or like and like criticism from other people,
It's like Rapunzel but with dicks. And not long there's no long hair really. But like he's saving her from, the bell tower is virginity. And he's, the hero.
It's just such a weird take. I can't get over it.
Yeah, it's
fucking
a strange
weird.
one.
Rapunzel with dicks.
Okay, I did not think that Russ Rankin was a volcel in this. I was thinking the lady in question was a volcel.
That makes more sense to me. That's a weird song.
Yeah. I feel like on all of the albums that come after this, there are way less songs about girls on them.
Definitely. It goes way more into I feel like after this it goes way more into like political type shit, really.
Guys, I can't wait.
Although it goes back to some of that stuff on Leveling Spirit. They like bounce back and then they go political again. It's weird. Like they go on a political run after this, and then when Symptoms comes out, Symptoms is a lot of like angsty, like heartbreak lyrics.
No.
But then the record after that is the one that's like super heavy on like political stuff.
Okay.
That's the one with like a more De Palma, less Fellini, and a bunch of songs like that. Which is still such a good song title.
Yeah. Ever Smile. I felt like that song was fairly unimpactful.
Yeah, it doesn't do a lot for me. I mean, it feels like it does a good job of setting itself apart from a lot of the other songs on the record, but it doesn't knock my socks off either.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is like I don't know if you really need these last few tracks here, but because I kind of feel the same way about the song. And like the only note I have on the lyrics is it about a girl? And if it is, did he really ask if she ever smiles? Like, bro, come on.
Do you, Russ? Do you ever smile?
I
don't think he does.
I was thinking maybe it was about hanging out with a friend.
It could have been, right?
But
Yeah.
who knows?
But so many of these other
The only
songs
time-
are about women, so I don't know.
Yeah. The only time I ever saw Russ Rankin smile was at a show in Cleveland they played where these two skinheads for some reason would not stop heckling them. It was two like very clearly, I don't know what their stance really was, but they were very clear like antagonistic the entire night and for some reason kept shouting for Depeche Mode covers. I don't really know why. But I just remember the entire night Chuck and Russ like fucking with them in the crowd because the crowd, like these two dudes kept trying to bully crowd members and no one in the crowd was having it. And the band were having a lot of fun just like fucking with them from the stage. And I think to this day it's the only time I've ever seen Russ Rankin smile. Because he was fucking with a couple of skinheads at a club in Cleveland.
That'll put a smile on my face.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. I did not know that ISYL was a cover.
Yeah, it's a Kiss cover who I fucking hate, but is a great cover.
It's a good cover. And like it actually, because that's the thing, it totally fits in with the sound of the record, and like
It absolutely does.
because of all those songs that we called out that sound kind of like strung out. Like this one does too, but it also sounds different. It sounds different enough that you're kind of like, is this one? Of
Yeah,
those?
it makes you wonder.
It's
Right off the rip, even if you're not familiar with the original.
Yeah, it's got like a different sort of sound to it that you're kind of like, this could be a cover. And
Yeah, there's like a definite like more of a rock and roll leaning vibe to it.
yeah, it's a good cover. I liked it.
Yeah, it rules. Like I said, as someone who is staunchly anti-Kiss, other than their disco song, which I think rules, is an awesome cover.
I have never.
I thought it was one of the better mid-tempo songs on the album.
Yeah,
I have never voluntarily listened to a Kiss song. Like it's always been like if it's on the radio or.
yeah. No, I get it.
So I couldn't even. Like
wouldn't
I
want
had
you
no
to.
idea that it was a Kiss cover until I looked it up. I was like, oh, okay.
Do you guys have any strong impression from Years From Now?
That was pretty good. I mean, it's a ripper.
Yeah.
Nothing too amazing. There was a really good band from Florida that stole their name from this song that existed for a couple of years. They were really cool. That's about it.
It's not a memorable.
Shout out to those dudes if they're still listening. They lived in Florida, I think.
That's not
Do you
a
think the song?
good closing track. I don't think it's like
No.
I have no problem with the song, but like it just feels like this is just another song.
Yeah.
Which is really funny considering the lyrics.
Right.
Yeah, I think this is whatever. Not a strong impression. Leave
No,
it.
it's not great. Like you said, it's a kind of a rough closer.
It's just a weird choice for a closing song. It's like, okay, I guess we'll just tack this on there.
Luckily, though, that's not all we have. There's this awesome hidden track.
All right. Does anybody know
Yeah,
really
what
good.
it is? Like,
It sounds like Acid Bath at first. There's this weird metal band called Acid Bath, and it starts off sounding like Acid Bath, and it just devolves into a weird, like, 5-second grind song.
I have no idea what it's supposed to be, and I'm very glad
No.
that this is a hidden track because I just don't.
It
I don't get it.
is like it's not even like clever or funny or weird.
Yeah.
Like at least the Propaganda record had them all saying fuck at the end, but that was funny.
Yeah.
This is not funny. I get no joy out of this. You're just making me stick around for 8 more seconds.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah.
I'd be halfway to putting in another CD by now.
Well, let's put in another CD.
Okay, well,
do some-
dude, well done on the segue. That's pretty sweet.
Although
Do some rival records.
I thought-
Now that we've shared our opinions on that entire album, let's expand the conversation. Go outside of Fat Wreck by bringing in some other albums that came out around the same time. So the first record we have up is This Is Just the Beginning by Kill Your Idols. Came out in 1998. Good Riddance will go on to release a split with Kill Your Idols. So perfect
A
band
great split too.
to bring in and talk about. I really like the Kill Your Idols songs. on that split a lot. Like,
Yeah, dude.
they're like very much, and I'm not saying this. I mean, maybe I am just saying this because of Chesterfield Kings of Propaganda, but they almost go in like a more jawbreaker direction with the music on that record.
Interesting.
I think.
Hmm.
So that's not the record we're talking about today, though. We're talking about This Is Just the Beginning. So this was released in 1998 by Blackout Records. Unsure of the actual date. It is 8 songs, so brisk compared to the other 2 very long records that we are talking about today. Half
long in
the
terms
number of
of
tracks.
the number of tracks, but still.
Yeah. All right. So, Kill Your Idols, This Is Just the Beginning. So, this is definitely not my introduction to Kill Your Idols. This is not the earliest material, but some of their earliest material. And there are some absolute fucking hits on this.
Yes,
Yep.
this record's kick ass.
Yeah.
I think Kill Your Idols is a band that I've come to appreciate that, like, across all of their records, there's usually like 3 really great songs, if not more,
Sure.
across, each record. There's still something really good on it. And like all the songs on this record have very memorable parts to them. Some of them are really good sing-along parts. Some of them are, like really cool like dance or mosh parts to them as well.
They're always good for a good like drum intro too.
Yeah. How you guys feeling?
So not my first introduction to them either. My first introduction, I bought a copy of No Gimmicks Needed, which I think is like one of their middle era albums. But I think it's generally people's go-to for this band. I bought a copy of it from Mark Unseen at an Unseen show from his disco or from his distro, which is a very, at this point in time, very old man sentence to say because it's not really a thing that exists at shows anymore. But dude, some of the best records I've ever owned, I've bought from just dudes and bands that were touring and like selling their CD collection to like make money for the next, gas for the next show or whatever. And I remember pulling a Kill Your Idols record out, and I'd heard the name before, had never heard a note of any of their music. And he saw what I was buying, and he goes, "You ever listen to these guys?" I said, "No." I said, "I know the name from magazines and stuff." He goes, "That's you." He goes, "If you would have bought anything from this distro," he goes, "that's the best thing you could have bought." He goes, "That band rules." And he was right.
That's awesome.
No, I think this record's great. I mean, I hadn't heard it, prior to going in because I don't know all their stuff. But I mean, it was exactly, it's exactly what you expect to get if you know anything about, Kill Your Idols.
Yeah. What about you, Alex?
So this was I don't think I'd ever listened to this record before. And it surprised me because, I wasn't really sure. I would never say that I've been a fan of this band. It's my familiarity really just comes from you, Ben. I think the only time I really listened to him was usually when I was hanging out with you back in high school. It was most likely like in your car. But I think most of my familiarity comes from the record "Funeral for a Feeling," which were you on the Side One Dummies street team? Did you get a copy
I
of
think
that?
I was at one point. Yeah.
I definitely was, dude.
Yeah.
You know how many 22 Jack stickers I had?
Oh fuck!
Sorry
many.
to side one dummy. I was probably really bad at it, but I was at one point.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why I had a burned copy of "Funeral for a Feeling" that I listened to, I guess maybe like a handful of times. I just wasn't really so into this kind of music at the time. I remember thinking, yeah, this is all right. But coming back to this, I was really surprised. I like this record a lot. It's really good.
Yeah, it's very no frills, man.
Yeah.
Like they just get down to it.
Yeah, you got like half the record are songs that are under 2 minutes, and then the other 4 are just like a little bit. The longest song is like just about 2.5 minutes long, so it goes by really quick. But I think that that's a good thing.
Well, for sure. They don't overstay their welcome.
Yeah.
It's one recipe and it's cooked perfectly every time, dude.
And I would guess that the version that I'm listening to has been remastered because it sounds really good.
Yeah.
I for some reason I can't imagine that this is the original recording. But I just like the way that the record sounds and like overall. Like I love how you can really hear the bass on the low end. I like the guitar tone a lot. It's just and then of course the vocals are really great. They're unique. They're kind of like what you expect for that kind of music, but also just like kind of different. I don't know. It's just I just didn't really expect to like this as much as I did, but I thought it was really great.
Yeah, no. I mean, I tried to write down favorites, and it's pretty much all of the songs on the record.
For my money, I put down that the 1-2 punch, the opening with "Can't Take It Away" and "Falling" is really, really good. It's kind of hard to fuck with that.
Yeah, those are really cool live.
Oh, I'm sure. Epilogue is really good too towards the end of the album there.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorites were Falling, Enjoy the Show, and Epilogue. And yeah, I think Enjoy the Show might be my favorite one. I really love the chorus and the backing vocals and their yelling, break down the walls of hatred. That's really good.
All right. Well, definitely a thumbs up. For me, this is probably the record that I listen to the most out of everything that we're talking about today. This is the one that is most regularly in my rotation. At one point, the next record was very regular in my rotation. And when I come back to it, I still like a lot of the songs. I kind of feel like some of the songs on this record don't necessarily hold up. Like,
what's the record, Ben?
Well, I was getting to that. So the record's Kid Dynamite's self-titled record. It's the me that related to some of these songs is no more. And it feels jarring to listen to those songs at times now.
I've killed him.
Yeah, he's under the floorboards. But compared to some more recent listens of this record, I like it more on this listen than I have on other past listens. So where are you guys at with this record?
So out of the two albums, I prefer Shorter, Faster, Louder because it feels like it's more them. I feel like this album is really good, but there is still a lot of like the Lifetime vibe left over on some of these songs, which isn't a bad thing because Lifetime was great. But I feel like they haven't fully formed into what I feel is Kid Dynamite. But some of the songs, there's so many banger songs on here. It's hard to argue against the record. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a record that I think when I first got into it, it sort of challenged me at the time because like I didn't really listen to anything quite like this. I think I just remember like getting this record and thinking it was like there's elements of this that I really like, but for some reason it just like something, I guess there were things about it that I just didn't kind of like grated my nerves a little bit at the time. But then like I just listened to it so many times that I eventually was like, oh, okay, I actually love this.
Everything kind of falls into place.
Everything kind of grew on me. And this was so long ago, but this was like a gateway record for me because I didn't really like a lot of, at the time, I didn't like a lot of like the really like super, super fast, like gravelly vocals kind of approach. But this one changed that. So it was kind of foundational in some ways. And I listened to it to death. I listened to it way too much.
Down to you were PhD control on Punk News, were you not?
That's right. That is.
Am I remembering that right?
That was my name.
Our infamous origin story of all having met on Punk News back in the day.
That's right. So that's how long ago this was. But so like, so I listened to it way too much and burned myself out on it. And
Sure.
after, I would like go back to it, like even like I listened to it and then I would stop and then I'd go back after like 6 months and I'd be like, okay, I'm still kind of tired of this. And then and then I would like periodically try it again and again. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I kind of ruined it a little bit. But at this point, coming back to it, it's been so long that I came back to it and I was like, oh yeah, I do love this.
Yep.
Still, like this is of the three we're talking about today. This is still far. I mean, this is far and away my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I love so many things about it. I just still am blown away by how Jason can fit so many words into such a short
Dude.
and then like on top of that add like all those different like weird inflections that just totally work, like those great hooks. He is unbelievable at it, and it really like carries through to None More Black in a big way. But man, here he's just going full throttle. And I think it's just a fantastic record. I can't even really pick a favorite song or any favorite songs. I just like the whole thing.
Yeah.
When I come back to it, like I just think it's like immaculately paced somehow for like what it is.
It really is.
There's no like it has like a little bit of a breather at points where you kind of need it. Like it's sequenced really well.
Yeah.
And I do think that the lyrics are really interesting. They're maybe like the topics are maybe not that interesting, but like the way that they're written, the lyrics have a lot of character to them. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Looking into it, I'm pretty sure that this is a mix of Jason's lyrics and Dan Yeman's lyrics. I think that's what it is. But and you could probably tell which are which if you really look at them. But overall, like I just think there's like a really great quality to the way that they're written. There's I think like it's better than Kill Your Idols in terms of the lyrics. And then Kill Your Idols is better than Good Riddance. But yeah, I think this one really takes the cake for me. I can't even really tell you my favorite songs. It's all good.
Yeah, out of the three, this is definitely I would rank this then Good Riddance, then Kill Your Idols, but it's all a pretty narrow margin for the most part. Favorites on this one would be definitely is Never Met the Gooch and PhD Control. I also really love KO5 0564.
Yeah,
that song has a great melody to it. It's really fun song.
For sure.
So I broke the songs into the studs and the duds. The ones that I kind of feel are duds at the moment. Sweet Shop Syndicate, Bookworm, Ronald Miller, Wrist Rocket. I think the song is really good. The relationship described in that song just sounds really immature and unhealthy, and I can't enjoy listening to the song because of that. And then Never Met the Gooch, which also used to be one of my favorites, but when I listen to it now, it feels very cloying. I don't know. It's too sugary. It's too sweet. I don't know. I drink tea without sugar in it, I guess. So those are the duds for various reasons. Those songs, just something in them, just kind of really makes me feel gross.
Yeah.
The studs, however, these all fucking held up phenomenally. I think Pause is a kick-ass opener.
It really is.
Yeah.
I'm willing to like cover my eyes and pretend that angel part of the song isn't in there. I think KO5 still kicks ass.
Yeah, KO5 rules.
Table 19, PhD Control, Bench Warmer. I think News at 11 might be my favorite song off the record.
Really good.
Zuko's Back in Town is really good too.
Yeah.
Pacifier might be the best song on the record. And then Fuck You Turn is a great album closer.
It really is.
Yeah.
That was gonna be the last thing that I had to say was that Fuck You Turn is a true closer. Like it really has
Just a hell of a tough song title in general.
Yeah. It's a funny title, but then like just the way it ends, it's like it feels final. It's like this is the end of the record. It is a
Right.
grand closer. And I love it. It's great. So yeah, it definitely I get what you're coming from, Josh, where it sounds it definitely has the traces of Lifetime in a big way.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of like a Lifetime hangover over the whole album a little bit. It's in like the slower, like mid-tempo songs, I think, because they get like a little more chunky and riffy and like it breathes the way like a Lifetime record would.
Yeah. I really like that about it. And I don't think there's because I think the record does need those little buffers for pacing.
Sure.
So I think
sure.
it works really well. But yeah, overall, I think it's a phenomenal record still. And I'm so glad that I gave it like a 10-year rest.
You're right.
Okay. Well, I think that is going to do it for the show today. Let me pull up my script here so that I know what to actually say.
And look, we didn't bash anything this time either.
Just
Russ
Rankin's lyrics.
Fully upbeat episode. Yeah, we did trash his lyrics a lot, but you know,
we assume that he's grown as a human being.
I would imagine so. Certainly.
That's going to do it for this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or most importantly, corrections on anything we might have gotten wrong, or if you want to just rant to us about how this was a terrible review, please do that. You can email us at ontherecord@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on a YouTube video. You can tell us we stink on Instagram. The world is your oyster. Just don't try to sell us stuff. We're not interested.
Leave us an iTunes review and tell us your favorite Fat record.
So again, email us at ontherecord@gmail.com so we can set the record straight in a future episode. We'll be back next week to talk about Tilt's Collect 'Em All. Thank you for listening.
Deuces.